So I'm showing three different views of a cube here: a perspective view, isometric, and axonometric. So if you took the Viz Tech class, visualization technique class, we did talk about perspective drawing. And the thing about perspective drawing is you're kind of drawing by eye. You're using your visual sense to draw, and that cube is not really, you can't drop a scale down on it and measure it. There's foreshortening going on. So uh, the back vertical line of that cube is shorter than the front one that's closer to us, because there's a vanishing point involved, and there's foreshortening that happens. So as we go away from the viewer toward the horizon line and toward the vanishing point, there's foreshortening, and that line gets shorter. Now, in isometric, this is the middle image here. This is an isometric view, and all of the lines here, even though they're not at 90 degrees from each other, but they're all measurable. So if this is 10 inches high, this is 10 inches wide, this is 10 inches high here, this back edge here is also 10 inches. You can drop a scale down on this and measure it. So it's measurable. So in some ways, isometric drawing is a nice way to show something when you are doing construction drawings, for instance. And in today's lesson, we're going to be doing millwork drawings, or a isometric view of a reception desk. And it's a nice way for, a millworker or a contractor to look at your work and to be able to discern exactly how big you intend to make things on it. So that's why we don't always show something in perspective. Plus, it's hard to show perspective on a CAD drawing. Then so when you're drawing in isometric, we're usually thinking about a 30-degree angle and a 60-degree angle. So you would use a 30, 60, 90-degree triangle on isometric drawing. So if I had a horizontal line that's running from this bottom corner straight across, from that horizontal line to the bottom of this cube, that would be 30 degrees. And then from the bottom of the cube to the vertical, that's 60 degrees. So we keep using 30-degree and 60-degree angles when we're drawing isometric. Now, there is another way to draw that cube, and that is axonometric. And what axonometric does is they toss out the 30, 60, 90 triangle, and they use instead a 45-degree triangle. So this angle here is 45 degrees, and this angle here is 45 degrees. And the nice thing about drawing axonometric is the top image right here, that's actually a cube. These are 90-degree angles here. So if you needed to take, you could take the floor plan of that reception desk or whatever it is that you're drawing on axonometric, and then you could drop verticals down and construct that image that way. The disadvantage to axonometrics is they tend to look a little funky. They're just a little odd looking, and so most people will draw isometrics. So today we're going to draw some isometrics. So that I wanted you to sort of understand what these three, and there are other ones too, but these are the three go-tos, or isometric and axonometric are the major go-tos when you're drawing architectural drawings or millwork drawings or something technically oriented. And a perspective drawing, you would draw more for, a rendering or a sketch or an image that you're going to show to a client. Okay, enough of that. So let me show you what our goal for today is, if I have it open. Yeah. So we're going to draw this here. So this is an isometric of our front desk on this commercial project that we've been working on for the past couple weeks. It's got that curved corner. There is a high piece of the desk here, and that is called a transaction top. So you come up to the desk and you can put your elbows on it, or you can sign in easily, or talk to the reception person who's behind the desk. And then there is a low portion here, and that is where the receptionist or whoever it is that's sitting there, not necessarily a receptionist, whoever's sitting or working here, this would just be at regular desk height, which usually is 30 inches high. In this case, we have that reception desk is extending beyond the transaction top over here, and it is giving us wheelchair access. So when you are doing a reception desk, it is no longer permissible just to, have a transaction top with the desk behind it. Because if a wheelchair is wheeling up, A, they may not be able to see over the transaction top, and B, they certainly can't reach up to sign in or do anything, productive on that transaction top. So you need to have an area of your reception desk that is lower at a 30-inch height, so that a wheelchair person can either pull up, and in this case, that wheelchair person would pull up and tuck themselves right underneath the desk and be able to, sign papers or whatever interaction they need to do with the person behind the desk. You can also, it is permissible to have a side access side wheelchair access to the desk, and that would mean that this front face of the reception desk would continue and cover this recessed area here. And then what would happen is the wheelchair would pull up sideways to that area and then reach over the arm of the wheelchair and do their signing in or whatever interaction they need to do with the person behind the desk. So that is why we have this wheelchair access. Just keep in mind, if you're doing commercial work ever, you must have wheelchair access in some way. There needs to be some ability to have a person, who is disabled or in a wheelchair to be able to interact with the person behind the desk. So behind our reception desk, this is our closet. If you remember, we have a closet on our floor plan. And so on the back side of this are the sliding doors that people will hang their coats up on in. And then on the back side of it, we're attaching some millwork here for some decorative reasons here that our designer designed. And this recess here, maybe this is a metallic material or something, or maybe this is where the name of the company is or something. I'm not exactly sure, but this is the design that we're going to be drawing today. So the back of the reception desk is here, and again, we've got the work surface for the for the staff person here, and then we have a 12-inch high transaction top that runs around along the curve here. And so this is space for them to be seated, and you can put a computer here or hide something behind the transaction top. And then the work surface extends out, and then again, this is the backside of the handicapped accessible area. And then we have two file cabinets. These are pre-manufactured PEDs or pedestal file cabinets. They're usually 15 inches wide, and lots and lots of companies make them. And in the commercial furniture industry, these most often are called PEDs. If you say PED to anyone, they will know what that is. And there's usually 3 different kinds of PEDs. This one happens to be a box file PED, and so let me just zoom in a little bit here, just so you can see. So this is just the base of the pedestal here, or the ped, and then this is a regular file drawer where you can just put, you know, actual file folders in, and this is called, and this drawer is called a file drawer, and then above it are two box drawers. These are called box drawers, and they are half the size of the file drawer. And then, so this would be a box file. You could have a file, which wouldn't have these lines, so it would be two file drawers. So there would be an upper file drawer and a lower file drawer. The upper file drawer would look just like this lower one. And then the third kind is has pencil drawers. So you would have this file, this box drawer, and then this box drawer would be divided in half, and there would be two drawers. Well, sometimes there's a deeper drawer, depends on the manufacturer, and only one pencil drawer. But there would be a thin drawer here for, you know, small things like pencils and paper clips and stuff like that. So we'll be drawing these today as well. And then there's some modesty panels here. There's one in between each. Sometimes there's not, but in this case, our designer wants to put it in between them, and that's fine. And then there's one on the other side. So if you're looking underneath the work surface here, instead of seeing the side of the ped or the pedestal file, you'll see, you know, a nice modesty panel, or this panel here, which would be in wood or plastic laminate or whatever we decide to put it in. Okay, so I just wanted you to see what, you know, what the goal was for today. All right, so I'm going to move this off to my other screen so I can see it as I'm working. And I've got our floor plan here, and I am just going to what I did was I renamed it to today's date, just so that I have a fresh copy of it. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I noticed that some people had an issue with text, and they were like, well, my text is coming in on an angle. And the reason is, if you look at my cursor is on an angle, right? And the reason that my cursor is on an angle is because my UCS, oops, let me collapse that. My UCS right down here is also on an angle. So what I need to do is I need to change this back to my world coordinate system. And there are a couple ways to do it. What I can do is just hover over this and right click, and then click world, and I'm back to normal. So I'm back to regular CAD, and all should be good. The other way, let me undo that. The other way to do that is from the command line. I can go down in my command line. I could just typing UCS. UCS is user coordinate system. And just click on it. And then down here, there are a number of options, and one of them is world. So I can click on world, and I'm back to where I belong. So you always, in general, we always want to be working in our world coordinate system, except for today when we're drawing isometrics. So let me zoom back here, and I drew a little cube here in isometric. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change again the way we draw. And this time I'm not going to be playing with the world coordinate system, but I am going to go down here. Wait, I've got my blocks thing here, and I'm just going to close that. We're not going to use that today, I don't think. So I'm going to go down here to these three horizontal lines here, and that is called a hamburger menu, or it's just, and because I don't know, the top and the bottom looks like a bun, and then the middle one looks like a piece of hamburger, I guess. But anyway, if I click on customization here, and yours may already be checked, but about a quarter of the way down, there is an option here for isometric drawing, and I'm going to click on that. So I have it ticked, and as soon as I tick it, I have a new icon that is down here in this menu, and it's right here. It's to the left of my object snap tracking here, and it's to the right of my polar tracking. It's right here, and it's called ISO draft or isometric drafting. And right now it's turned off. And if I turn it on, the first thing you'll notice is my cursor has changed into this strange X shape. My UCS down here in the lower left has stayed. I'm working in the world coordinate system, but my cursor has changed. Now, yours may come in a different way. Yours may come in like this, like a cross, or it may come in like this, like a cross in another direction. And these are, what I'm doing is I'm flipping through between these three ways of drawing in isometric. So let me look at this cube here. So this cube is showing three faces, right? I see three faces of this cube. I'm just going to go back to my world coordinate system just to make things clearer for the moment. So I see three faces here. There's a face on the left, there's a face on the right, and there's a face on the top. And I put these three little X's or crosses on each one of those faces because these mimic what your cursor will look like when you are drawing on any of these faces. So if I turn my isometric drafting back on, you'll see that my cursor now is in this X shape that is kind of mimicking this X here. So that means I am in isoplane top. I am in my top view. Excuse me. So that means I am drawing kind of like in isometric plan. At top view, I'm like looking down at this surface here. Now, if my F5 key is a way for me to toggle between my views. So if I just toggled now, and now I am in isoplane right. And in fact, I can see it right down here above my command line. I am in isoplane right. And that means I'm drawing on the right side of this cube. And you'll see my cursor is matching this little plus sign that I drew on that face. If I hit my F5 key again, now I am down here, it says isoplane left, and I am now able to draw on the left surface of this cube. And if I hit my F5 key again, I am now on down here, it says isoplane top, and now I can draw on this top surface of the cube. So as we are drawing, we're constantly, not constantly, but we're often tapping that F5 key in order to get to those three isoplane views that we need in order to draw in isometric. Now, if you don't have an F5 key, there is another way to do this, and right next to the excuse me, right next to the isometric drafting button here, there is a little arrow, and if I click on it, this allows me to switch between those three views. And sometimes this is an easier way to do it. If I want to switch to isoplane right, I'll just click down here, and now my cursor is changed to isoplane right. If I want to go to isoplane top, I can just click here, and my cursor's changed to isoplane top. And the other thing you might notice is that on the little button here, the image on this button changes also. So right now that's showing that X, which mimics this my cursor. And if I go to isoplane right, and now it's changed that way, and isoplane left, it'll go that way. So if I want to draw, I have my my ortho mode on here, by the way. So if I want to draw some lines, I can draw lines up, down, and along that 30-degree angle here to create something that is on that isoplane left surface. If I tap my F5, I tapped it twice, so now I'm on isoplane right, and I want to draw a line. Now I am drawing in this direction. And if I want my isoplane top, I'll do it this way just to keep it fresh in your mind. Now I can draw lines that are, showing the top view of my isometric drawing. So these are the tools that we need in order to do this. Now, by the way, if I have my ortho turned off, I can draw lines in any old direction, just like you can, normally, right, in using, just normal drafting. So I do want to try to restrict myself to ortho mode turned on. All right, let me get rid of all of that. And I'll just leave that cube for now. And I'm going to find a clean space, and I'm working in models, in black model space here. I'm just going to find a clean area here to start my drafting. So I'm looking at that handout that we just talked about, and I'm going to start with the closet in the back. And again, another thing that I like to do, and you can do this any way you like, but I tend to like to draw objects in the back first, and then kind of move forward. But you know what? That I shouldn't even say that. That's not a hard and fast rule. There's sometimes I do it the other way. All right, so let's start by drawing the closet. So I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? Also, let's look at our layers. So up until now, we've been using layers that are meaningful for specific objects, right? Like doors go on the doors layer, and hatch goes on a hatch layer, and plumbing, and all of that stuff. But there's three layers here that we have not even really addressed here. And one of them is line weight dark, line weight medium, and line weight light. And these are when you are drawing like details or something like this isometric. Generally, we want to be drawing on these generic lines. So I'm going to be drawing on line weight medium, and you should too. So I'm going to set that line weight medium to my current layer. And now I'm going to start drawing my closet. So I'm gonna start at the bottom, and I'm just gonna draw all four walls of that closet. And I know that, so I'll just go to my line tool here. That closet is 3'6". And again, if I were drawing in perspective here, I couldn't do this because the measurements would be, there would be foreshortening, and they would recede. So this is nice that I'm getting this three-dimensional view, but I can also measure all of the lines, and that's, that just keeps everything really accurate. So that was 3.5 feet, 3'6", and then the length of that closet is 11.5 feet, so 11'6".
Paul, are you drawing A right now?
I am. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back 3'6", and then I'm going to close this. Now we're going to be doing a lot of trimming today, and we're going to be drawing over lines. So don't get too confused as we're going. So right now I'm just drawing the floor plan in isometric view of this of this closet. Now, I'm not going to show the thickness of the walls or anything like that, but this is just the outline of that closet. So if I go back here, it's this closet back here. All right. So now I want to draw up, right, in 3 dimensions, and I know that it is 14 feet high. So if I go to my line tool and I'll just start here and I want to go up 14 feet, I can't. I can only go this way and I can only go this way. So I need to change my isoplane to, well, which one? So I'm going to be drawing this left face of my of the closet. So I want to go to my isoplane left. So I can use my F5 key here. There it is. And I just tapped it twice. And now I am on isoplane left. And I can go up now. I can go this way, and now I can go up. So I want to go up 14 feet. So I'll just type 14 feet. And then the closet depth again was 3.5 feet. So I'll just go in this direction, 3'6". And then I'll just come down and close that. So now I have this left surface, the left side of the closet. So now I want to draw this front side, which is the right side, right? Left and right. So let's change to isoplane right. So I'm just going to hit my F5 key until there's isoplane top and there's isoplane right. There it is right down here if you're not sure. So you want to keep your eye down above your command line here, and that'll tell you which isoplane you're in. So again, I can go, well, just go this way. I'll start here and I'll go up. Again, that was 14 feet. And then I'll come back and close that. And then let's see, maybe I can draw 14 feet that way, and it's not letting me, oops, I did that wrong. 11'6". Now it's not, because I'm not in isoplane top, it's not letting me draw in this direction. But what I can do, I can cheat a little bit and I can just hover over that corner and snap to that endpoint, which I did there. So rather than changing my isoplane to isoplane top for this, I just drew this direction, and I can draw that direction because those lines tell me which direction I can draw, the lines of my cursor. So the red line tells me I can draw in this direction, and the green line tells me I can draw up and down. So I drew in that red direction 11.5 feet, and then I snapped over here. I cheated and forced it to go over here. All right, so now I don't really need these lines anymore, so I'm just going to delete them. And there I have my nice little 3-dimensional box that represents the back of my reception desk. All right, so now we've got some reveals. Hold on just a second. We have some reveals here that we're going to be putting in our on the back here. It's just kind of decorative things. And let's just see. I think I have an image of them. If I didn't delete it or I didn't turn it off. Yeah. Okay, this is not an image of them, but this is just to give you an idea. This is a recessed whiteboard here. And the designer put a whole bunch of reveals into this wall that this is recessed into. And these reveals they vary in size, but our reveals are going to be 1 inch high and they're going to be 1 inch deep. So let me just zoom in here. There we go. So you can see that this recesses in. This is probably 1 inch, and then recesses up 1 inch as well. So and then a lot of times, what happens is there are reglets. This often is called a reglet, this reveal, and there are pre-manufactured reglets in materials, like there could be a chrome one, or a brushed aluminum, if you want that metallic look. And so what the mill worker does is he just, or she inserts that reglet in, and you have this nice finished metallic looking recess. So that's our goal. That's what we're going to do here today. So I'll start with this reglet that's on the bottom here. And what I will do, so I could draw that first reglet is 3.5 feet, 3'6" up above the floor. And I'm looking at at that drawing with the dimensions, and then the reglet itself is an inch. So I could O-track up and then draw. I would need to change my. I should change it in any case to isoplane left. I can draw that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some copying, and copying is another thing that I like to do when I'm drawing isometrics. So I'm going to just copy these the two floor lines, and I'll start here, and I'm going to just copy up 3'6", 3'6". So there I have the bottom line of my reglet, and that reglet again was 1 inch high. So let me just copy again. I'll just go from here, but anywhere. I'll just go up another foot, another inch. So there's my reglet. Again, that reglet recesses back an inch. So what I want to do is I'm going to let me copy this over an inch. So that is going to represent the back edge of the reglet. So what I need to do is I need to draw a little line here from this intersection to that intersection there. And now I no longer need this here. And what I need to do is to trim this here. So I'm just going to trim that. So now I'm seeing sort of the top face of this bottom panel here in my reveal here. And it's cutting back, and it just happens to be back at 1 inch, so I'm not seeing the back edge of it. If I recessed it back only a 1/2 inch, then that line would be here, and I would see a vertical. But I'm not doing that. It's coming back.
Paul, can you show that one more time, that cutout?
Sure.
Sorry.
So what I did was I know that get rid of that. So I know that this reveal recesses back 1 inch. So I'm going to offset just as a guideline, really, for myself. I'm just gonna I'm not gonna offset. I'm gonna copy. Excuse me. I'm gonna copy this over an inch. And now I will just use my line tool here, and I'm just going to connect the dots there, or those intersections, that point and that point there. And now I no longer need this guideline here, and I'm just going to trim this piece here. So if I go back to that image, if I can find it, hope I didn't close it.
Is there a reason you didn't use offset, or could you have?
No, yes, there is a reason. And hold on. Looks like I closed that image. Peanut butter. Oh, anyway. Well, let me just finish this here. I'm just going to trim that. Yeah, I can't. Offsetting gives me some really strange and funky results when I'm using isometric drawing. And so wait, let me show you. I'm going to go over here. So let me go over and offset. I want to offset in this direction 3 feet. I've got a vertical reveal over here. So I'm going to offset 3 feet. Well, it's offsetting like in this direction or this direction, but it's not offsetting along the direction of the wall. So
Got it.
so if I change this to isoplane right and offset, again 3 feet, it's still not offsetting along the wall. It's just offsetting just generic. So that's why when I'm drawing in isometric, and I'll probably make the mistake multiple times by saying offset because I'm so used to doing it. We don't want to offset when we're drawing in isometric. We want to copy. So I'm going to copy this over 3 feet. 36 inches, and that'll be the left edge of that reveal. And then the reveal itself is an inch. So I'm going to copy again another inch. And now let's draw that reveal up here. So I want to be on my isoplane top here. So I'm going to go up to isoplane top, and I'm going to draw the top of that reglet or the top of that reveal. So I'm just going to go to line. I'm going up or in to the left 1 inch, and then I'm going to come back this way 1 inch, and then I'll close it. And then I'm just going to trim this, and I will actually see the back edge. This is the back edge of that reveal. So I'm going to just see that there. So this is the side. This is the left side of this panel, and then this is the back of the reveal. Okay, so let's clean this up, and I'm just gonna trim all of this here. And I guess if I want to get technical here, there would be a line that goes that way, a line that goes that way, a line that goes. I stuckled that up. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll show this one here. So I also can't use perpendicular in this as well. It'll give me some strange results. And then here, so what I could do, I showed you the 1 inch offset, but what I'm going to do here for this one, and again, we have that same reveal on this side that we had over here. So this time, all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line, and I could say this line is perpendicular, but it's not. And so what I could do is I could just either go over it and then trim, or I'll just type 1 inch because I know it comes back 1 inch. And then I'll just trim this out here. All right. And actually, now this reveal actually is not just a reveal, it is a panel, and it comes up a foot. So I kind of drew this needlessly, it looks like. So let me copy this up a foot. Oop, I can't copy it up a foot. So let me change my isoplane and then go. Now I can go up 12 inches. And it goes over. I'm going to change the isoplane right. That thing goes over. How much does that go over? I don't have that dimension. Well, let's figure it out. I'm going to copy this edge here down to more or less here. I'm going to say 8 feet. In fact, I think that's what it is, 8 feet. So I can use fillet. So I'm going to fillet this and that. And over here, so just like I had that reglet that or that recess here, this whole piece recesses back. So let me just copy this over. Again, go to my isoplane top. Copy. I'm going to copy it an inch. And now I'll do some trimming here. So there, now this looks like this piece has recessed back. And let me trim this. And I'm going to get rid of this craziness. I'll just fillet this to clean that up. Okay. And I'm just kind of drawing lines in the direction, and then I'm trimming. So this comes, yeah. All right. I think I've got my back wall done here. Okay, so let's move on to the much actually easier reception desk, because we're not dealing with all the reglet business. So I'm going to start by drawing again a box that represents the bottom of or the floor plan of the reception desk, and then I'll start to extend up from there. And it starts at 3 feet from this surface here. So there's a 3-foot passage here so that someone can get behind the reception desk. So I'm going to use my O tracking, and I'm going to go 3 feet. So I'll start my line there. And the overall depth of the reception desk here is 5 feet. And that curve is there. And we'll talk about the curve later on. So I'm going 5 feet out. And then the overall length is 12.5 feet. So 12'6". And then it comes back in this direction. And this is where the accessible piece of counter is. It comes back 3 feet. And let's see, over here on this side, it comes over 3 feet. And I'm just going to draw some line here. And I'm just going to draw some line here. And I'm just going to fill it, just so I don't have to do the math and figure out where all of that should be. So there is, in broad strokes, the outline of our reception desk. All right, so now, so let's start on this side. Let me go to my isoplane left. There we are. And I'm going to draw this side of the reception desk, and it's 3.5 feet high. It's So I'm going to draw a line up 3'6". And then I'm going to come across in this direction 5 feet. And then I'm going to come down. So that plane there represents the left side of the reception desk. Now I have over on this side, I'm going to go up 3 feet or 30 inches, 2'6". And then I'm going to go, oops, I want to be on isoplane right now because I can't go in this direction. So let me just flip on my F5 until I get isoplane right. There we go. And so that accessible portion of the reception desk is 3 feet. So I'll go 36 inches or 3 feet, either one. And then we go up to match the this height over here, which would be another foot, 12 inches. And then we can come back, and if we've done everything right, it all lines up. So there I have, okay, I'm just gonna delete these. I just wanted to draw them just so that you were aware of how it worked, but I'm gonna delete those. So now I have the left side and I have the front side of my reception desk. And I'm gonna, well, yeah, what the heck. So I'm gonna use my trim tool and I'm just gonna extend here. That down. Now I've got a little leg here, and that is 1 inch, and then I have a work surface here, and that is 1 inch. So normally I would like to offset these, but I can't. So I need to copy. So I will copy this one over 1 inch, and I will copy this one down 1 inch. And then I'll just clean this up by filleting. And then I will, I'm going to draw a line. So I want to draw the inside face of this leg here. So, but I can't go in that direction. And so I need to change my isoplane again to isoplane left. There we go. And I'm just drawing it at some distance. And now I'm going to extend. I'm just using my trim tool and holding shift and then extending it over. And I can, just for cleanliness here, I'll just trim that out. And I've got the top of my desk here, and that's let me just check, 36 inches. So 36. And then if I were an isoplane top here, I could draw the top of the reception desk, which comes out some distance there. So there, that looks pretty good there. So let's move on to the transaction top here on the front. So it is 3.5 feet high, and the depth of the transaction top, and it varies, but generally speaking, the transaction top is 12 inches. So I'm in my isoplane top view right now. So I'm going to just draw a line here that is 12 inches. And I'm going to come back some distance here. And I'll do this side here. 12 inches. I'll come back and then I'll just fill it. So there's my transaction top. If it were square, that's what it would look like. I know we have the curves, but let's get to that when we get to that. All right, so I have I have this edge of this lower piece here. I need to draw that. So let me go back to my isoplane left. And again, the height of that counter or the work surface is 30 inches. So I'm going to go to my line tool and I'm going to use my O tracking and go up 30 inches. And now, well, you know, I'm gonna draw a line there. No, here's how I'll do it. I'm going to use copy. Copy up 30 inches. Now, if I go to isoplane top. Now I know that this is probably like, oh my gosh, what? I'm going over 36 inches, and then I'll go back. You're probably thinking, oh my God, when is he using isoplane top, and when is he using isoplane left, and when is he using isoplane right? And I'm using it when I need to. When I find that my cursor isn't working, and it's not good, my line isn't going in the direction I want it to go, then I just I change my isoplane until I can do it. And a lot of times I'll use isoplane right when I should be using isoplane left. It doesn't matter. AutoCAD doesn't know what surface I'm drawing. But so if you are not able to, and I'm just trimming here a little bit, if you aren't able to get a line to go in the direction you want it to go, you need to change the isoplane until you can draw it in that direction. All right, so there is my lovely reception desk here. And but the front edge of this and this transaction top here is curved. So how do I do that? Well, I could just, you're thinking, just use fillet and use a radius on it and put a radius on it. Well, that doesn't work because a fillet radius creates a circle. Well, isn't that what we're doing? We're drawing a circle. Well, if I draw a circle, let me just draw a circle here. A circle kind of looks like that, and that doesn't really work very well with this isometric drawing. So when we're drawing an isometric, we're actually, when we want to draw a circle, we're actually drawing an ellipse and not a circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an ellipse from this point, more or less over here, to this point over here, and it's going to come around, and then I'll be able to trim this stuff out of the isometric. But what I need to do is I need to identify the center of that ellipse, right? So the center of the ellipse is going to be at the same height as the top of my transaction top. And the center is going to be right at this point here, but a foot higher. So I'm going to draw a guideline here, and I'm going to start here, and gosh darn it, I can't go up, so I need to change my isoplane there. I can go up a foot. All right, so this point right there is going to mark the center of my ellipse for the transaction top. All right, so let me go to the ellipse tool if I can find it. Here is circle, and here is, oh, that's just that's an elliptical arc. So let me go circle. Oh yeah, I guess this is the ellipse tool. So yes, so I'm gonna click on ellipse. And I'm going to choose here elliptical arc. And when I choose my elliptical arc, I have some options here. And one of them is center and one is ISO circle. And that's what I'm going to choose. So I'm in the ellipse tool. I could type ellipse, E-L-L-I-P-S-E, or E-L, I think does ellipse. Or I could go up here to ellipse. And then once I select it, I want to go into my command line and click on ISO circle. All right. So if I specify, oh, you know what? My isoplane is wrong. I need to be on isoplane top. So let me change it. And if you forget, what will happen is your ellipse will turn out wrong. So, all right. AutoCAD is asking me to specify the center of the ISO circle, which is this point right there. And now I'm going to come out until I hit, oops. Actually, you know what? I guess it's not going to cooperate with me. So what I will need to do is I need to specify it. So that depth is again 36 inches. So here I'm drawing it, and then I'm going to come out and I'm going to type in 36. And then I'll just hit enter again. Oops, wait, let's try it again. $36. All right. Now, so if I just put in a regular circle here, it would come in like that. So that's not what we want. So I've got this ellipse, and now I'm going to do some trimming. And I'm just going to trim that section of the ellipse and that section of the ellipse, and I'll just erase this back here. So now I just have this nice arc right here, and that will mark the start and end point of the curve. So what I can draw it again, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it, and I'll go from this point down to there. Now I'll do some trimming. I'll do some erasing. And now I have that outside curve. But I still need to look at the inside of my transaction top. I want the transaction top to come around and curve over here. So if that was 36 inches and the transaction top is 12, so I need to do another iso circle or iso ellipse that is 2 feet instead of 3 feet. So I'll go back to ellipse. I will select iso circle. I'll select that center point, and I'll come out and I'll just type in 24. And then, so that, So what it's trying to do here, and I'll do it here. Iso circle. I'm coming out 24 inches. Oh, there it worked. Sometimes you'll find that what it wants to do is it wants to draw an arc for you. But for me, this is a lot easier. All right, so now let's do some trimming. And then trim this part of the circle I no longer need, or the iso circle. Get rid of that. And I will get rid of this guideline as I no longer need it. And now my transaction top has a nice round smooth corner. And I do have a reglet here that is coming down right at the edge of the curve here. So let me go to my line tool, and I'll find that endpoint right there. And oh, lo and behold, I can't draw down. So I'll just hit my F5 until I can. I'll just come down to there. So that'll be the left edge of that reglet. And then I just need to copy it over an inch. So I'll offset or copy. I so want to offset what I'm doing this. I need to come over 1 inch.
Is there a measurement for that, or did you just eyeball it? Or did you just
No, all of our reglets are going to be 1 inch.
no, not the inch. How far over you want?
This line?
Yeah, the first line you drew.
Yeah, what that line? No, I didn't eyeball it. What it is it's right at the edge of it's at the edge of the curve. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, let me go to my isoplane top here. And I'm going to just draw this piece of the reglet. It's only an inch, so I'll just draw there and then do some trimming. Okay, and the last thing I need to do now is put a thickness on the countertop. And in this case, if it were up to me, that thickness would be more than an inch, but this is showing an inch. So if you want to do an inch and a half or 2 inches, that would be fine. I wouldn't object to that. But I'm going to do it the way it's shown, and that's an inch down. So all I'll do is copy all of that line work at the top of the transaction top, and I will just come down 1 inch. And I'll just trim this out here, these little pieces. And there is our reception desk. Now, if it were me, and this is another me being me, if it were me, and if I were, okay, let me go back to the floor plan here. So, okay, so this isn't showing this right, is it? Let me turn off my, if I were actually showing this right, this should be 36 inches, and it should be like that, right? So this is the low portion where a handicapped person can come up and, you know, do some transaction, some whatever they need to do. So if I were standing in the lobby here, right? So let's say, you know, you have a person here, and maybe there's a second person here. You know, that is helping this person out, and you know, that very well could happen, where there's something happening between two people over here. If that handicapped person isn't there, and there's somebody working here, and I'm standing out here, and let's assume that these doors are glass, and this is all glass over here, and I'm looking through, I can just sort of see there's a person here, you know, I can see his legs and his shoes, and, you know, maybe he's got a briefcase or a backpack or something underneath the table there. And I'm not sure that I would like that. So what I like to do when I'm doing these is I like to put a vanity or a modesty panel that goes across here. And let me go back, turn my ISO back on, and I'll just switch to isoplane right. So if I were doing that, I would, well, I guess I have to be isoplane top here. I'd come back. So this is 3 feet. So I would come back halfway, and I put a modesty panel in. So I'm just going to do that just for giggles here. So I'm going to come up and come over. Well, you know what? I'll do it this way. I'm going to draw a line here, and then I'm going to move it back 18 inches or half of 3 feet. So I'll move this back, put on my ortho, 18 inches. And then I'll go to my line tool here, and then just kind of go up and then do some trimming here. You know, so it just looks a little more private back here on the staff side or the employee side. You don't have to do that, but if that were my reception desk, I would probably have that modesty panel there. All right. So so let's look at the other side, the back side of the reception desk. So you might say, well, we can just kind of mirror this, right? But you can't. No, you can't do that. So I'm going to start the same way that I started before, and I'm going to draw the the plan view of it so that I can, and then start to extrude up. So I'm going to go to my isoplane top here. And so I'll start on the accessible area there, and the counter is 3 feet deep. I'm trying to get 3 feet. And then it comes back 12.5 feet. Comes down 5 feet. Comes back in this direction 3 feet. Comes up 24 inches or some distance, and there we go. So there is sort of the footprint of the back of the reception desk. Let's change my image here so I can see what's going on. All right, so let's start with this face, the side of the reception desk here. So let me change to my isoplane right here. And I'm going to go up. I'll start over here. I'm going to go up 30 inches, 2'6". And I'll come back 36 inches. And I'll come down. So there is that side, and then I've got the transaction top above it, and that goes up another foot. So up 12 inches, and then back 12 inches, and then down 12 inches. So there's the side of my transaction top right there. Good. I've got, let's see. Change my isoplane here. I've got this line that comes over 2 feet, comes down. So there's that side there. And this goes up 2 feet. Sorry, 2'6". And goes over 3 feet. Comes down. So there's the end. Let me maybe connect these two lines. So there's that front edge of the work surface. Let me change my isoplane to top, and I'm going to come over 3 feet. The front of our accessible portion of the desk is 3 feet wide, and then it comes in so now we have the edge of the end of the transaction top, so that comes in 12 inches, and I can't go up, so I need to change my isoplane. Goes up 12 inches, comes back, got to change my isoplane again, back 12 inches. So there is the edge of my transaction top. And you know what I could do here, if my isoplane is right, I could just, oops, sorry, getting messy here. I'm just going to draw some lines here, then I'm going to do some filleting. Because I don't want to measure, I don't want to think about the dimension lengths. So, all right. Now my transaction top, it has a little leg here, and over here that is 12 inches. So I need to copy, I can't offset. 12 inch, or not 12 inches, 1 inch. Sorry, 1 inch that way. And I'm going to copy this one 1 inch that way. And there's a little line here that's missing here. So let's draw that. And also on this leg. Good. All right. So to support this so this is all kind of open back here. But to support the transaction top, we need to build like a piece of wall here that this top can sit on, right? So up until now, all of the edges or all of the pieces of this millwork have been 1 inch thick, right? This is 1 inch thickness here, and I can't have 1 inch at the front of the transaction top because 1 inch isn't enough to support that uh, transaction top. So what I need to do is I would need to, if I was drawing a cross section through this, you can see it, but there needs to be a wall here that underneath this top and that wall would be 5 inches thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm on my isoplane top. I'm going to go from here, and I'm just going to well, you know what? Here, I'll do it this way. I'll copy this 5 inches. So I'm not going to see this line, but that's the thickness of the wall that would be underneath this transaction top that goes all the way around along the curved surface, and then would end 5 inches over here. So let me copy this 5 inches. So these are guidelines for us right now, just so that we know where that 5 inch thickness is. So now I need to draw. I'm just going to draw some lines here, and I'll just fill it, and I'm just going to do some trimming over here. So that is the vertical wall, the inside wall of the transaction top over here. And it is not in the same plane as this. It's pulled in 5 inches. And so this wall will come up, and then this transaction top surface here would cantilever, would be attached to that wall, and then cantilever in. And so that creates this recessed area here where you can put, equipment or whatever it is that you want to put in there. So I don't need these guidelines anymore, but I wanted to draw them so that we could draw this inside corner here. And let's draw the thickness of the transaction top, which is 1 inch. So I'm going to just copy these surfaces or these edges, and I'm going to copy them down. So I need to change my isoplane so I could go down just 1 inch. And then let me do some trimming here. And actually, there would be a little corner here. Well, actually, there won't, because I'm going to curve that, but I'll just draw it just so you can see it. So if our transaction top were square, that's what it would be. All right. I'm going to get rid of these lines because they were just super confusing. And so let's draw these curves here. So the first one is going to go be for this. All right, let me do this. So the first curve that we're going to draw is this one here. And this curve is, again, we're going to use the ellipse, and this point right here is going to be the center of that ellipse. So how wide is that? That's 36 inches minus 5, because that was the thickness of that wall. So it's 36 minus 5 is 31 inches. Fingers crossed this will work. So let me go to isoplane top. And let me go to ellipse, and then iso circle, and we'll start with right at that center. And when I say 35 inches, and that does not look right. Okay. So let's do it this way. Let me draw a line. Let's trim here. And now let's find out how big this line is. 2'7". All right. Someone should have caught me on that. So ellipse, isocircle, 2'7". There we go. Gosh, turn it. It wants to do an arc here, and there we go. So if it gives you trouble, just do it again and it'll cooperate eventually. All right, let me trim. Just get rid of this little piece here. So there is the bottom of our wall that's supporting our transaction top. So let me go back to that image here. So now the transaction top is a foot higher than this, right? So again, I need to draw that little guideline again that goes up a foot so that I can find the center of that ellipse for both this outside surface of the transaction top and the inside surface of the transaction top. So the depth was 36 inches. So the radius here for our outside transaction top will be 36. And then fingers crossed, this depth is a foot. So this one should be 2 feet or 24 inches. Okay. So let me start by drawing that line up. I can't draw it up, so let me change my isoplane so I can go up 12 inches. So that line here, so that point right there will allow me to draw that ellipse. Now I want to draw that ellipse in isoplane top. So let me go down here, isoplane top, and I'm going to go to my ellipse, go to isocircle, find the center of the circle, which is that top point there, and then go out 36 inches. Okay, so now that time I actually drew an arc. So let me show you how I did that. Because I know you're not confused enough already. Okay, so isoplane, the ellipse, isocircle, center of the circle. I'm going to come out 36 inches. And now what I'm going to do, so it wants to do a start and an end point to an arc. It wants to draw an arc when you're getting this dotted line. What it wants to do is draw an arc. So that's fine. We'll have it draw an arc. So this will be the start point. I'm dragging my cursor off to the right, and I'm just going to click. And now I'm going to drag my cursor off to the left, and I'm going to click. And it drew that arc for us, and I did not have to do any trimming. All right, while we're in ellipse mode, let's draw the second one. And this one was 36. Now this one that's going to come to here is going to be 24. So go to my ellipse, go to isocircle, go to the top of that line there for the center. And again, it is 24, 2 feet. And then I'm going to pull out to the right, go out to the left, and now it has drawn that second circle. So now I can do a pile of trimming here. Get rid of that little corner that I didn't need to draw there. And now this is a little bit weird here, but at this point, all we need to do is copy that arc down. So I'm going to go to copy, and I'll just choose that endpoint, and I'll just come down. Oops, I can't come down. It's only going left and right for me, so I need to change my isoplane. Now I can come down. How deep? 1 inch. And now I'll just trim that and that and that. And then I'm done with this little line. And there is the inside of our transaction top. All right. So I have a couple other things I need to do here. I need to give some thickness to the work surface here. And again, those work surfaces are 1 inch. So I'm going to copy. I wish I could offset, but I can't. I'm going to copy down 1 inch. And let's see, I've got a this edge. I'm going to copy that over 3 feet. And I'll copy this over 1 inch. That's that leg. And actually I'm gonna copy this over 1 inch too. All right, let me do some trimming here. And then I want to draw, I want to trim this. I need to draw the side of this panel here. So I'll just go with my line tool from here. And of course, it's not going in the direction I want. So I'll just tap F5 until I can. And then I'm just going to do the extend. I'm going to trim, hold my shift key and extend out.
Well, do you have to do 36 inches from the inside of the leg or from the outside?
Good question. I did it from the outside of the leg. So I went from here to here was 36 inches.
Okay.
And do you want that modesty panel in that part too?
Oh, sure, why not? I mean, you don't need to. Again, I just did it because I happen to like it, but let's put it in. So I got that line there, and I'm going to move that line over half of 36, which is 18 inches. Really, it would be 17 inches because the thickness is 1, but so I'll just do 17 inches. And then I will draw a line up. And then do some trimming or extending. I'll do some trimming here. And I wouldn't see that. So there, yes, that looks good. All right, now, I need a leg here on this side. So I need to copy over 1 inch and then trim there or fillet. I'll use fillet for that. And I won't see this line, but so I'll trim down here. And I'll get rid of that for now. And then, so the last thing I've got are my PEDs here. So let me change to my isoplane right here. Okay, so let's draw our PEDs, or pedestals. So a pedestal is 1'3" wide, and that is just industry wide. It, whether it's steel case or Knoll or all steel or any manufacturer, pedestals are 1'3". So I'm gonna copy here 1'3". And we'll draw the first PED, and then we'll copy the second one over. So Now I'm going, so now pedestals, so it's a separate piece of furniture. It's metal thing, file cabinet that slides underneath the desk. So there is a small gap between the top or the bottom of the work surface and the top of the ped. So I'm going to draw a line here. I'm going to use my O tracking if it works here. And I'm just going to come down just a ½ inch, 0.5. Sometimes it's less, but I'm just going to come across again 1'3". So that is kind of marking the top of my ped. And sometimes it'll be less than a ½ inch. Sometimes it'll be a quarter, or that's a. They all standardize on the width, but sometimes the tops are different from manufacturer to manufacturer. So we're gonna come down 6 inches for this box file, and then I'm gonna come down another 6 inches. Oops, sorry. Copy this down 6 inches, and then I'm gonna copy this one down 12 inches. So this is our file cabinet, and these are our 2 box drawers, our smaller box drawers. And there's a, depending on the manufacturer, there can be a handle that's sticking out, or sometimes there's a rectangle here that recesses in. Kind of looks like, I can't draw a rectangle. More or less like this. That was messily done. But what ours is going to be is just a recessed top here, or the top that sets in, and then it just has a finger pull, and you'll pull across. And so I'm gonna copy that line and that line and that line. I'm going to copy it down. Let's see what an edge looks like. Yeah, that's perfect. So there's our ped. Where a lot of times there is no modest, or there is no leg in between the peds, but in this case, it's drawn. So I'm going to copy that over 1 inch. And then I will just copy all of this. So I'm going to copy all that line work, and I'm going to go from that to there. And there are 2 peds. And I no longer need this, so let me just trim that. And we are golden. So there is the inside of our reception desk. So your job for tomorrow or for next week is to draw these 2 isometrics. And it's technically, I'm not going to ask you to turn it in. I'm just going to ask you to draw it, because the week after, next week, we're gonna be doing dimensioning in isometrics, and then laying out the paper space. So we'll have another paper space drawing here. So what I'd like you to do is the front isometric and the back isometric. So let's recap. Isometric, when we're drawing an isometric, we're thinking about 3 planes, right? We're thinking about the right plane, we're thinking about the left plane, and we're thinking about the top plane. And when we're in ISO mode, which is this little button right here, isometric drafting, we can only draw in one of those 3 planes at a time. And the shape of my cursor, see my left, my cursor here is got a red line and a green line, and those are the directions of the lines that I can draw. So I know I can draw up and down because my green cursor is vertical, And I know I can draw left and right on this angle, this angle here of this line, because my red line on my cursor is going in that direction. If I change my isoplane, and I can do my isoplanes here or by hitting F5. If I go to isoplane right, I know I can draw vertically and horizontally in this direction. And isoplane top, this time I'll use my F5 key. I know I can go this direction and this direction, but I can't go vertically on this one. So you are, as you were, you'll, believe me, you'll get the hang of it after a short while. If you find that you're not able to draw in a direction, just hit F5 or change your isoplane down here, and you'll be able to do it. The only trickiness that I think you'll have, I'm not even sure that you will have it, are these ellipses over here, but we put those in because we want to challenge you. This modesty panel, you don't have to put it in. I just put it in because I think it looks a little nicer. But on the drawing, on your handout drawing, it doesn't show it, so you don't have to put it in.